All right, ladies and gentlemen. It is, God, what day is it? Is it Thursday? It's Thursday, isn't it? Thursday, February 15th, 2018. How's everybody doing out there? It's Josh Reeves here with you. This is the Global Reality. Glad to be here with you tonight for another edition of the broadcast. Going to be getting into a lot of stuff for you here tonight. I probably won't even have time to get into all the topics I want to get into here tonight, but I'll try to touch on as much as I can and get into all the various things I want to discuss with you here on the show tonight. Got lots of news piling up. Stuff's been piling up here for weeks and shit. So I've got lots I want to talk about. Do my best to get into all of it here. If you got, if there's, especially now, as my attention's focused on filmmaking, stuff. There's so much shit that happens. Sometimes by the time I, get back around to doing a show again or whatever, 10 other fucking things have happened. We've moved on from it. So, if there's anything that you want to hear me discuss on future broadcasts and things like that, you can always email me, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. That's globalrealityshow@gmail.com. So, there's something that catches your eye and something in the news. I mean, a lot of stuff people send me. I don't need you really to send me news articles, but I mean, just stuff like, you hear about something. Hey, can you talk about this? Or give me your opinion on this, whatever. Yeah, definitely always email me. I'll definitely address it for you because, there's so much stuff that goes around. I mean, sometimes people just send me stuff. I've been doing news gathering has been a full-time job for me for even before I was on air, 13, 14 years. It's just a part of my daily routine. I've got every kind of thing you can imagine, alerts and, I see stuff. It's not your fault. I mean, I'm not coming down on anybody, but sometimes I get these articles sent to me, and it doesn't happen very often, but sometimes it'll have like 20 different people in one day will send me an article and be like, come on, guys. You don't give me enough credit here. And other times I wonder if people have even paid attention to my other work at all. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've been around for so long and I guess I can't expect people to be familiar with all the information stuff I covered maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. But literally for the past 5 years, well, I mean, my research goes back. Actually, where did I put out the first Lost Secrets of Ancient America? Volume 1. That was 2013. So before that, I had been researching the Rockwall for like 10 years before that, because that film was really a culmination of like 10 years. So yeah, 2003 was when I first found out about the Rockwall. And so, yeah, even, it was a whole culmination of all that research and that was really a good investigative exercise on my part, because originally it was just, really there was never a such thing as the Lost Secrets of Ancient America for me. At first, it was just all about the Rockwall and the project of doing that and researching that. And being the researcher that I am, being the way that I approach these things, I don't ever approach this stuff. Most people approach, a YouTube video or something, they make, or, a documentary, whatever it might be. They have their premise, they have whatever it is that they absolutely 100% believe is absolutely positively true, and they want you to believe more than anything else what they believe is absolutely positively true too. And their whole premise is working forward from that. You understand what I mean? So it starts with that, and so the whole rest of what they're doing is just them trying to reinforce whatever this belief is. But see, I don't do that with my work, and some people A lot of people more than don't, but a lot of people appreciate that. And some people don't and the people that don't are the type of people that need everything force fed for them. There's nothing wrong with that. There are people that are like that. I'm not coming down on those type of people that are like that. I'm just stating that those type of people do exist. If you're not clubbing them over the head with it and spoon feeding it to them, they're not going to get it. And I don't pander and cater to those type of people. It's just not what I do. So I always try to approach these things and looking at them from all angles. And with the Rockwall thing, for me, it was like, well, okay, let's look at the evidence. Let's look at what we discovered here. This anomalous thing. And then combine that with the other evidence and stuff that's found immediately in the immediate vicinity of the Rockwall. The giant skeletons. The underground caves that lead to the closest river freshwater supply. Underground caverns that lead from these walls, the alignments, the solar alignments, and then the I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Holy shit, that was an impromptu funny fucking thing that just happened. I mean, live on air. It's hilarious. I guess it's probably because today has been such warm weather. It's been so fucking cold here in Dallas, Texas for a while. Today, the temperature shot up damn near 80 degrees. It was like 79 degrees. It's still like in the, lower 70s right now. I don't know, man. I guess that put my cat in a good mood or something. He just, I was sitting here talking, and as I'm talking, man, because he never does this. He never scratches or anything. As I'm sitting here talking, I guess he didn't like me, the fact that I was doing a show. He walked up and fucking pawed my arm while I was in mid-sentence. And now he's doing laps through the house. I guess it's because it's warm outside. I guess he's in a good mood. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry about that, but it was just hilarious. I mean, I wish I would have had video running on that. It was just hilarious the way he did it. It was just SWAT. I guess he didn't agree with what I was talking about. Good thing I remembered and didn't lose my spot or train of thought, because I knew exactly what I was talking about. But it's just hilarious. But it was the Rockwall we had. I started looking at all the things that were found there. Again, the the anomalous things, the giant skeletons, the solar alignments. Stuff. Things don't naturally align themselves to the solstices, the equinoxes, and all this. It just doesn't happen. As much as these debunkers and scientific morons will try to convince you of these things, it's just flat not true. And then, of course, the mounds and stuff in their mound sites all through Rockwall and major elevations. I show all that stuff in Lost Secrets 1. But as I started, that was my whole premise was, okay, if this is what I believe it to be, as far as this wall is and all this stuff, everything else has been found around it. If there's one of these or something like this, then it's somewhere else. This has got to happen again. And that's we're just never taught. There's so much archaeological stuff in America, and it's been so suppressed. The Rockwall's just one part of it. And yeah, as I found out from traveling all across the country, one into the other over the course of those two films, there's way more here than we've ever been told. I mean, I shock people all the time when I tell them that, I talk to them about this stuff, and I've never had one person yet say, yeah, I knew that. When I asked them, did you know that there's a pyramid in the United States right outside St. Louis? Did you know that there's a pyramid here that is bigger in its footprint? At its base, it's bigger than the Great Pyramid at Giza. No, nobody knows that. We're not taught these things. They're suppressed because the questions that start to become unravel when you start asking those questions and finding the answers is a whole part of this hidden history and the rest of it that they want to keep from us. So when I was doing all this Rockwall project and stuff, the thing that I've been trying to get going, I made a video. One of our listeners made this cool animation video. That's a long time ago, I guess, 2 or 3, 4 years now. But Yeah, I was talking about this 4 or 5 years ago. Having using drones to use lidar around the Rockwall area, because lidar, this laser stuff, technology allows you to see underground, even through structures and whatnot. They used it at Angkor Wat, but anyway, this recent story came out about them using it in South America or somewhere. I guess they found some new Mayan stuff. God, I had like 20 people send me this. Hey, you probably never heard of this, and you've probably never heard of this lidar thing. Boy, it'd be cool if they could do that. So this is what somebody said. It'd be cool if they could do that to the Rockwall thing. And just throw my fucking hands up in the air, like, there's so much frustration in this stuff. Again, it's one of those things. Look, the they that you're talking about here. Who is this they you're talking about? They should do that for the Rockwall thing. No, I should do it. I've been trying to do it for fucking 5 years, man. There's, in case you didn't know, I am the top world's expert on the Rockwall. There's nobody that knows more about it than me. I've done 2-hour presentations, live presentations multiple times. I did one in Houston. We put that out on video and stuff. I mean, I've been studying this thing now for 15 years. And, now this stuff is starting to become used more and more. And I swear, man, it's like 20 people send me that shit. I'm like, come on, y'all. You think I didn't see that 2 days ago? Y'all just now sending me that? But no, I'm not coming down at anybody. It's just, I don't know. For the amount of work that I've done, it's frustrating, man. Especially when you look at, I'm just still frustrated how, I can put up a YouTube video and we'll get 1,000 views in the first 2 days. But I've never sold 1,000 copies of any of my movies. It's ridiculous. That's where the fucking info is, people. I mean, some of these movies have, especially like Lost Secrets. I mean, I think Lost Secrets 1, I think good call. It was like $30,000, $40,000 budget. Second was even more than that. It's like 50 or 60,000. Well, these are not just little bullshit little made for YouTube things that I do here, okay? I've been doing this even since before YouTube was a thing. It's so frustrating now because, when you're somebody like me who's been a filmmaker and a radio talk show host, now everybody just thinks, oh, you're a YouTube guy and a podcaster. So I get lumped in the same category as these new jacks that have only been doing it for a couple of years. Meanwhile, I've been up here consistently doing this. I mean, I put out how many audiobooks now? There's 13 audiobooks. I mean, the download shop, people, I put the links in every fucking video. I put them on YouTube and multiple times. I put it in the info section of the video and I put it in the comment section. If you go to my website, I know my website sucks, and again, that's a goal for this year. I'm going to get it revamped and rehashed later in the year and it'll be better. But right in the middle of the fucking page, there's a big, bold block of text that says, purchase all Josh Reeves available documentaries, including The Lost Secrets of Ancient America, here. If you click that, it takes you directly to the download shop. All my documentary films I've made are in there, all the audiobooks, so much stuff in there. And like I said, man, I've kind of been hinting at this and kind of said maybe, maybe not. I don't ever want to say something definitive because you never know when you're going to change your mind, but just with the amount of work and the amount of what I've had to endure and still am enduring with my health and everything with the Spellcasters films, man, especially this volume 2 now, I don't know. I'm not going to say for sure, but I'm just saying, other than some smaller stuff, as far as like conspiracy documentaries and this stuff goes, this may very well be my last film in the whole conspiracy genre. I mean, I want to keep making films, but I can't. I don't know, man. It's just too much. Each successive film gets better, and each successive film, when I start to do the work, I just throw my hands up and go, "What the fuck have I got myself into?" Because it's, and this one's no different. So I'm really thinking after this one, especially, I mean, if this one sells gangbusters, which there's no reason with the quality of it that it shouldn't. But again, the other problem is once it takes so much and we get so little support anyway, with the amount of listeners and whatnot that we have, and people that have been listening, following the show for years, that it's almost impossible to even, once you get a film done, there's never anything left to even promote it. I do little radio shows and stuff, man, but sometimes I'll go on and do somebody's radio show and we won't sell copy one. And you can believe when I make a note of whose shows those are when they occur, because those are definitely the ones I won't be returning to. But it's, yeah, I more and more as I'm working on Spellcasters 2 here, and more I'm thinking, yeah, this is probably going to be it. I still want to make films. I want to do some different stuff, though. I want to do some films that aren't necessarily about in the whole conspiracy genre. And I don't really care if anybody is upset by that or not. I really don't give a shit. I've done plenty for everybody else. I want to do some stuff, what I want to do now, I'm also going to get into doing some books. Probably going to write a few books as well. I'm probably going to definitely write one on the whole Lost Secrets of Ancient America stuff, or the Rockwall stuff. Probably going to write one on that. I got another one, idea for another one. But I'm not going to reveal any details about that one yet, because it's something that it's such a no-brainer idea. It's hard to believe nobody's done it yet, but nobody has. And I've been studying this material for so long, and I have such a huge catalog of knowledge on all these different subjects. When I was thinking, you know what? I got this idea for a book, and it has the potential to be, if I can find a publisher and all that, it has the potential to be, I think, a big seller, a huge seller. And the reason is because the interest, well, number one, it'll be the title of what the book is. That's number one. This is one of those books that just the title will sell copies. It really, not even kidding. And then also with the content and stuff like that. But I think this one I have an idea of has the potential to be, big. I'm talking like, I think it could be like a multi-million seller. Really, there's no bullshit. And I don't fucking use that kind of shit around lightly. I would never say that about anything that I've ever done that would have the potential to sell millions of copies. This book idea I have, I think it does 100%. Because what it is would fill a big gap and a big void that's there, because nothing like this exists. And this is one I think you could easily get somebody to pick up and publish and get out there in stores. I think it could be it could be huge. But yeah, I want to do some different documentaries and do some stuff that's not nearly as stressful. I want to do some music documentaries, stuff like that. I've got some ideas for some movies, do scripts, stuff like that. So we'll see. But with just the amount of work and stuff I've had to go through for this second volume of Spellcasters, I tell you what. But it is going to be amazing. We had our goal set for this week, and we need to raise at least $200 by tomorrow, and then we'll be good on our operating costs of the month until the end of the month, first of next month. So you can use the donate button on my website, theglobalreality.com. It's theglobalreality.com. You can use the donate button there if you want to use a credit card, debit card, or a Visa prepaid gift card. If you don't have a bank account or debit card or something, you can use that and pay cash at a gas station, grocery store, pharmacy, whatever. So the donate button there, scroll down on the right-hand side of my page, and on the website, theglobalreality.com, you can use that. And you can also find the Global Reality February operating cost budget banner. You'll find links to it in the comments and in the information section of the video on YouTube, as well as on our social media pages on Facebook, The Global Reality Radio Network Facebook page, and the Josh Reeves Filmmaker Talk Show Host Explorer page as well. You'll always find the links up there to our most current fundraisers and our goals when we set our different goals for the weeks and prizes that we have, whatnot. Those will always be posted there to the Facebook page. I don't use Twitter or Instagram or any of those other bullshit things. I only begrudgingly got on any kind of MySpace, Facebook, any of that stuff when I started this show in 2007. And before that, I wouldn't even, I didn't even own a cell phone until a couple of years ago. And I went kicking, fucking, and screaming into that. I did, literally, I never even owned a fucking cell phone until a couple of years ago. Never even owned one. Swore I would never own one, but, you know, eventually it gets to the point where, you know, you got to have one. There's just no way around it. Yeah, I've got a piece of gear I've got to buy. It's nothing expensive. It's $350, but I got to get the money in here by tomorrow because it's gonna. Once I buy this thing, it's gonna take a week for it to be here. I was trying to get this thing done by the end of this month, but it's not gonna happen now. Strictly because, well, I've been off air because I've been working on the film and my, you know, again, still dealing with my health issues. It is continuing to get better, but, you know, you have your good days and bad days. And as I've said before, I'm not going to get too much into this tonight, but again, after, you know, going to the doctor and all this stuff and dealing with the dental issues and stuff, yeah, there is huge percentage leaning towards that this is not just naturally occurring health stuff. You understand what I mean? As I've talked about before. It's just so funny when you go in there and they check you out and everything, you know. The only thing I had when I had my Bell's palsy, the only thing that was through the roof then was my blood pressure, but I've since got that down. But that was just because I was freaking out, dude. I thought I had a stroke. You know, I mean, when you go to bed normal and you wake up the next day and the whole side of your face is paralyzed and you can't talk and you look like fucking Eric fucking Stoltz and The Mask, the fucking chair, especially when you got long red hair like mine. I'm serious, dude. I woke up and I was like, holy fuck, yeah. I mean, it was like, Jesus Christ. Did I somehow get cast in the role of, what was his name? Rocky something? In the reboot of The Mask starring Josh Reeves. And that's what I thought, dude. When I looked in the mirror, it was fucked. So I was freaking out. But yeah, other than that, same, you know, like I said, same thing with my teeth as well. You know, I'm thinking I got cavities and all this stuff. I'm in such pain. I think, you know, I go in there and look, no cavity there. What the fuck? But, yeah, it's since so again, same thing happens. We just haven't got very much in this month. I mean, we barely even be able to cover the middle of the month bills we have here for the network and stuff, and we've gotten very little in after that. I mean, I'm beyond a fucking shoestring here, folks. I mean, really, like I said, I've got $350 to buy this synthesizer I need. It's a fucking used synthesizer, like 15 years old. It's nothing fancy. It's just something I need for the soundtrack. $350. I mean, a goddamn new one will cost you $1,500, $2,000 on up. You know, $350 for one little piece of gear. This is all I fucking need. You know, so maybe like $500 total. That's all I need left to finish this fucking film. If I can get that and get that piece of gear in here in the next week, then we're looking, you know, middle of March, maybe third week in March, and this thing will be done and out. So again, just go and support and give what you can right now and help us reach this goal so we can get this budget. So, hey, if somebody can come in and just, you know, slap 500 down to us or 200 down to us, that'd be great. But, you know, small amounts help too. So whatever you can, just go and do that. Now, update for you as well on the flash drives. Some of those have already gone out. Some people have already gotten theirs. If you haven't gotten yours yet, be patient. It's on the way. If you don't get it this week, it might be there first of next week or whatever. And then I got more coming and going out. As I said, I've been sending them out in order of how they were purchased and whatnot. So if you haven't gotten yours yet, be patient. if you don't get it by, what's the day? Thursday towards Friday. Okay. If you haven't gotten yours, depending on where you live, if you live in another country, maybe give it an extra week. If you're in, England, France, Australia, Canada, which we all had people get those in those locations. So shout out and thanks to those people. But if you're in those locations, it may take a little bit longer. But if you're in the United States and you haven't gotten yours by next Friday, just email me, globalrealityshow@gmail.com, and let me know. And I'll let you know if it's, make sure it's been sent, all that good stuff. But everybody should receive theirs in the U.S. By no later than a week from tomorrow. And those will be just kind of the ones, I guess, that maybe came in towards the end. So if you absolutely haven't received it by then, just email me and I'll check on it and I'll let you know what the status is. Outside the United States, be patient. Some of the ones outside the United States have been sent, so you may get yours sometime next week as well. But those will all be sent out, and they'll be completely sent out within the next few days or so. So sit tight, be patient. They are on the way. All right, let's see. What have people been asking me about? I'm trying to think. There's been a lot of people asking me stuff. What do I think about this? What do I think about that? I'm trying to think of all the different ones. There's so many. Did you guys see that? I'm sure everybody did at this point. You guys see that fucking Elon Musk? Look at my fucking... I have a tiny dick, so I'm going to launch this giant fucking rocket. Man, I guarantee that guy ate his boogers and ate glue and boogers as a kid. I'm just going to say it. First time I ever saw that guy in an interview, I'm like, that dude ate boogers and glue as a kid. Just straight up. No bones about it. But anyway, did you see that fucking fake ass? That thing was fake. That whole shit with the... I mean, I'm not... that thing was fake. At least all the footage they showed and all that stuff was him supposedly launching a Tesla in space. Dude, that shit was so fucking fake. There's even a shot where they showed, like, basically just like they did with the moon landing, but people are too stupid to think that's what it is. They just think that's just where they were testing it. Bullshit. There's a picture where they show it, and it's like in the studio. That shit was fake. That shit was fake. That's all I can say about that. Somebody asked me about that. What else? Michael sent me a video. I'm sorry I haven't got back to you, Michael. I've been too busy, man. Been fucking caught up with all this other bullshit. Michael sent me a video. A question about... it was Billy Corgan, and he was kind of talking about... He was talking about shapeshifters and stuff. I guess it kind of sounded like he was... Michael kind of wondered if I thought maybe he was kind of sounding like describing a similar thing as what I've described with the whole Thetan thing that I experienced with Alex Jones back in 2006 that I talk about in Spellcasters Volume 1. I think in that video, Michael, that you sent me, I'm sorry to get back to you on this. I'll just do it here on the show. It's sometimes easier for me to just talk about it on the show instead of typing all this shit out. But I think he's just, he's trying to describe something, and it's, it's okay. But I think he's trying to describe something. Oh, how can I put this any other way than to just be brutally fucking honest about it? I think Billy Corgan is just describing something he absolutely does not have the vocabulary to actually back up and to describe to someone in any sort of meaningful way that they'll understand, I mean, he's kind of out of his element there, but yeah, I mean, he's fucking Jones's buddy now, and I used to be big fan back in the 90s and stuff, but I know that he started doing wrestling, and apparently it tanked, so that's why he was now trying to get back the original Smashing Pumpkins, and of course, there's been a lot going on this week with that. First, they announced that they invited Darcy to join, and she declined, and then she came back and said no. It was a money thing or whatever, but She did say, if you go and read the most recent article that came out about that yesterday, and Darcy's comments on the whole thing, she kind of peppers in at the very end. And he's also a Trump supporter, and he believes in shapeshifters and all that. Which kind of was like, all right, well, what does that have to do with, yeah, that's true, and yeah, whatever, but what does that have to fucking do with this whole not being back with the pumpkin scene? I mean, look, she wasn't anything but a hired gun anyway. I mean, nobody played on those records, those original records from Gish through Siamese Dream and all. I mean, it was just Billy and fucking Jimmy Chamberlain, really. For a fact, the first two records, maybe they played more on some of the later ones, but the first two records, Gish and Siamese Dream, were all Billy Corgan and Jimmy Chamberlain. Billy played the bass. He played all that shit. But I remember like when Siamese Dream came out, Today and all that shit. He had all those videos, and they saw the chick bass player. Darcy wasn't playing one lick on that record. She didn't play any of that shit. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a dickhead now too. I mean, I don't know. Billy's he's just going to the wrong team, as a lot of these guys do, going over to the Jones Trump team. But I mean, I just thought it was kind of weird that she peppered that in, the thing about the shapeshifters at the end. But I mean, come on, Darcy, let's call a spade here. The reason why she's not in the fucking band is because she's a fucking bipolar crackhead. I mean, I'm not throwing that around loosely. No more loosely than she's throwing around Corgan being a Trump shapeshifting believer. But I mean, it's a fact. You can look it up. I mean, she was diagnosed as bipolar schizophrenic, and she did get caught smoking real crack. So, you know what I mean? Calling her a bipolar crackhead is not it's not slander. I mean, that's really what that. If I had to guess, that's forget what Billy Corgan says, forget what she says. If I had to guess as to why she's not joining him, being a bipolar crackhead probably ranks pretty high on the list. What else? What I'm trying to go through, a lot of people sent me emails and sent me Facebook messages and stuff, so I'm trying to go through here and think of some of the stuff and just address these things. What else? Oh, the pitfalls for people seeking the truth. That's another one somebody brought up and asked me about. So how, I mean, you could really just go back and listen to all the shows and stuff I've done for many years and look at my stuff, the Secret Right work and all the stuff I exposed with the phony truthers and in the spellcasters too, the connection to Scientology and the whole truth movement. You got to watch Spellcasters Volume 1 and 1.5, man, before Volume 2 comes out. You got to get copies of it. If you haven't seen it yet, get a download. But as far as pitfalls for people seeking truth, I mean, there's a bunch of them. God damn it. I've done years worth of shows on this stuff. It's, I guess they want me to recap or whatever. I don't know. There's tons, man. It's tough. There's tons. That's one thing that I've always really tried to, really had a conscious effort to, keep myself away from, because there's a lot of them out there, and it's okay to fall into, if you fall into those things for a little while, and then, you as you do with anything in life, you recorrect your course and keep on going. But I started seeing that early on, even right before I even started doing this radio show back in 2007. I saw it with the 9/11 thing, man. Because, I, as most people understand, 9/11 being just one small, important part of this whole greater picture. When we have these meetups and these meetings, these 9/11 groups, when we'd go down and do these street action stuff, we'd have these meetings, and you'd be a bunch of different people, and, you don't want to just sit around and just, who wants to sit around and just go over the minutia of, the free fall collapse of Building 7 and all this stuff, and never talk about anything else except that. And so that's when I started seeing this sort of myopic viewpoint that was being formed. And so that's one. Well, that's one pitfall, falling into, that's why I always, I work on one thing and one subject, and I put everything into that subject for a period of time, and then I move on to another subject. It doesn't mean I won't go back to those subjects. I never dreamed in a million years when I started doing Lost Secrets of Ancient America. Right before that, when I did the Secret Rite Volume 2, if you watch at the end of Secret Rite Volume 2, I talk about Congressman Ralph Hall from Rockwall. You know, he was a Council for National Policy member. He's been one of the major people covering up the Rockwall. So you have a connection right there. I never had a dream there'd be a connection with that. And then even more, I never dreamed there'd be a connection when I started doing the spellcaster stuff and finding all these connections with the Council for National Policy, the CIA, Scientology, as I've detailed now in those films. You know, you just never know. Had no idea there would be that kind of overlap. But yeah, that's one pitfall, is getting, and a lot of stuff is designed to do that. A lot of these shootings, I mean, we just had another school shooting. Doesn't take, but I don't even have to spend 2 minutes now. So I don't get up here and do full shows and make videos out of them like a lot of people do. I call them hamster wheels. I mean, there's not really anything else you can call them. Well, that's one type of pitfall, is the hamster wheel pitfall, where it's just a hamster wheel, man. And it's kind of designed to just keep you on this one subject. You know, people got real stuck on 9/11, and they couldn't see anything else. And I really started to see that and still do see that as a major problem. Because, again, if they get you stuck on one subject, then all this other stuff's going on, and you can't see the forest for the trees, and you're lost because you're just caught up in this one thing. So yeah, it's always important to keep it moving forward, keep it going, and keep it just wide spectrum. That's one thing I've always tried to do here. That's one pitfall. What else? Oh, God damn, there's so many. I don't have time to talk about all this tonight. There's the whole, there's the whole, you can get into the whole white supremacist thing. The whole white nationalist thing. That's another pitfall truthers fall into. You can fall into the Jew thing. Where anything that's not Jewish obviously is not truth, because everything is a Jewish conspiracy. I mean, again, that's extremism. So extremism is another pitfall, whether it be religious extremism or whatever it may be, racial extremism. There's extremism as far as people thinking everything is a conspiracy except the things that actually are. That's another frustrating one. It really is. There's a lot of people that think all these things are true that aren't fucking true at all. And then meanwhile, the real fucking serious shit they need to be paying attention to, they're not looking at because they didn't hear their favorite shill talk about it. So there's that. There's so many. There's a big one. I can't believe I forgot this one. A big one. There's the New Age pitfall. That's a big one. That's a big one a lot of people fall into, and there are a lot of traps set out there to get people to fall into that one. And that's a big one. That is a big one. Because the problem with that one is that, again, it gets people just focused on one end, and they're not looking at the whole wider spectrum picture anymore. I see it happen a lot, man. People get wrapped up in this, pseudo New Age, and they think spirituality, everything is an illusion, so it doesn't matter anyway. That mindset really fucking drives me crazy. Oh, well, it doesn't matter what's going on with all these conspiracies. It doesn't matter what the people are really real, because all this is an illusion. It's just Maya, so if you don't let it affect you and you don't have to worry about bullshit, that's ostrich fucking syndrome, motherfucker. That's sticking your head in the sand like an ostrich and trying to convince yourself that if you just ignore certain things, they won't have an effect on you. Well, guess what? You're wrong. They will. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. Um, and psychedelic drugs and stuff. I'm not saying, I had my day with those back in the day myself. But and you can experience profound life-changing epiphanies and things that can really help you out under the influence of those. But you can also go down paths where it's just as bad as anything else, and it becomes like alcoholism. And yeah, and the same thing happens. Another, as far as like the whole New Age thing too, I see that a lot where it's just funny because a lot of people that fall into, not necessarily all of them, but a lot of people that fall into those sort of New Age traps come from people who were formerly adherents of another major religion, whether it be Christianity or Catholicism or Judaism, whatever. But you see a lot of people who are like, oh, well, I'm not Christian anymore because it's too oppressive, or, I don't like this, that, and the other. It's, a whole bunch of horse shit. But then you see those people start doing the same exact things that they had a problem with the Christians or the Catholics or whoever. They tend to become sort of the same, have that same holier than thou, judgmental thing, where they start judging everybody who isn't like them. I see that happen with people on the truther path too. It's the same sort of thing, same exact thing. That's why I'm going to sit here and tell you I wasn't guilty of that myself back in the day. I got over it, but for a few years, 2 or 3 years, I was like that. I kind of got to the point where I fucking or I had so much knowledge. I mean, I've got tons more now than I even had then when I had that attitude, and don't have near the attitude. Don't have any of that attitude at all. But I used to, I didn't have near as much information as I have now. And there was a couple of years where I was kind of like that. That's the only reason I can talk about this stuff, because I know it, because I've lived it. It's nothing wrong with it. But you got to be able to acknowledge it so you can change it. But yeah, there was a time where I was like that, where it was like, I kind of looked down on people. Oh, you fucking dumbasses. You don't fucking know anything. You don't know what's going on in the world. You think the world's like this? It's not like that at all. It's like this, and you're idiots if you don't see it. And I don't want anything to do with you if you don't see it. That's no way to live. It's no way to live. If you're out there and you're still trying to go that route, just give it up. You just, you got to keep focusing on your own personal quest for knowledge. And if anybody else wants it, great. If they don't, that's great too. But, yeah, both in the truther paradigms and in the sort of the New Age paradigms, that's a big one I've seen a lot of people do, where they get judgmental, and they get just as judgmental and just as high horse, and just as I'm better than you or you're below me, if you're not on the same path as they are, and everything is justified. Every behavior is justified under the guise of following my path. That's the other thing. So of course there's all kinds of pitfalls, man. The Jones pitfall, that's pretty well documented here on this show. But that's one people fall into. I fell into that one too at first. People sort of fall into that one at the early level, and then, eventually people either eventually see through the Jones thing, or they become just a part of it, and they're just another brainwashed fucking idiot, But really no different than they would have been had they not found Jones in the first place. They still would have been a brainwashed idiot, just a different type of. anyway, to the listener that asked me to talk about the pitfalls, there's so many, man. You know, the most important thing is just to, stay in your own lane, focus on what's on your interest and expanding your own personal knowledge base. And, past that, everything else, you just got to let go of the wayside. But yes, I mean, a lot of these things are placed there intentionally so that people get sidetracked and they have distractions away from seeing the bigger wide scope picture of this stuff. And yeah, I've seen it happen a lot, especially with like people getting, like I talked about before, people getting locked down in these rabbit holes of one subject or something. But that's why I like to, go full tilt into a subject for a period of time and then move on to something different. That's why I want to do, I finish up. Maybe I'll get around to doing that maybe this year, but if it's not as stressful as, it won't be as stressful as this fucking Spellcasters too, that's for sure. But that's what I want to do. I'm getting ready to want to do another Lost Secrets movie again and get into some of that, because really, man, after you deal with all this, especially when you're putting together these movies or something, you got anything with Jones in them, you got to see that fucking pig demon face of his. Ugh, haunts me in my fucking dreams, man. This is that shit when I saw that thing I described in Spellcasters 1. Jesus. Dude is a fucking Thetan demon. That's what the Thetans are, by the way. Scientology, as I talk about in Spellcasters 1. They're just basically demons. For the longest time, pretty much in all the time I've been on air, one thing I hear over and over and over again is, you got to label your videos. Why don't you label your videos? Well, number one is because if I do a show, throughout the course of that whole show, there's going to be a whole bunch of different topics. You should listen to the whole show. That way you can hear all the topics. If I put like what some topics are, then people will just skip videos. Well, I'm not interested in those topics, so I'm going to skip on to another one. And then the people say, well, yeah, so that's why you should do it. Well, no, I've never done that. That's one reason. But I've been asked about this, and I've gone round and round with people about this, and I've been steadfast about it for over 10 years. And God damn it, I said 10 years ago this was coming. I knew it then. Well, the big main reason why I've never made videos with whatever the particular subject is because I knew eventually they would have keyword software that would start to censor and block videos. If I make a video and it just Josh Reeves, 2-15-18 or whatever, okay. It could be about all, a varied bunch of different subjects. But if I put out a show that says, Josh Reeves 2-15-18, and then put in parentheses, put the subjects, chemtrails, Alex Jones, Council for National Policy, Florida shooting conspiracy, whatever. Then they know exactly what's in your video, then they can more easily censor it. I've been saying this for the longest time. Well, it's here. And speaking of the pig demon, there he is. Hold on to your tinfoil hat, Alex Jones. YouTube is coming for you. YouTube today announced plans to combat state-sponsored content, which I heard about. Basically, like, government-sponsored news, they're going to start marking. But what didn't get as much play, at least not in mainstream sources, is not only the state-sponsored news content, but specifically conspiracy theories. The platform plans to label all state-funded broadcasters and conspiracy theorists. A move to add much-needed context to the type of channels often responsible for the spread of misinformation. Often overlooked, YouTube offers yet another platform for the spread of misinformation. While Facebook and Twitter grab headlines, state-sponsored actors like Russia Today, yeah, that's fucking Kremlin, and internet whack jobs like Alex Jones continue to facilitating the spread of news stories ranging from the misleading to patently false. YouTube Chief Product Officer Neil Mohan confirmed the prominent interview with the Wall Street Journal, although admits he's not sure when the fix would take effect or how the site would determine which videos get tagged. The principle here is to provide more information to our users and let our users make the judgment themselves, as opposed to us being in the business of providing any sort of editorial judgment on any of these things ourselves. Well, this is hilarious, number one. But they've been fucking with my views and my everything of mine since the very beginning. Do you understand how long I've had a YouTube account? I got a YouTube account in June 2006. And I got a director's account at that time. And I got grandfathered in when Google bought it. That's why I've always had the ability. I think I can upload up to 100 gigs per video in up to however long I want, 3, 4, 5 hours or whatever length. I think maybe everybody can do that now. But for the longest time, back when you could only do 10 or 15 minute videos, I could upload full length films. And yet, we've only got like 13,000 subscribers and 3 or 4 million lifetime views. Should be way more than that. And they freeze my YouTube. I'll see the comments will be coming in by the 10s and 20s and 30s and 40s, and thumbs up will be going up, but yet the fucking view count just sits there stalls for like a day or two. I've seen that happen. But again, right here, this is exactly why I've said for the longest time that I won't label my videos with what the content is in them. Just put my name and the date on there, and then, Now, that's not to say they can't still go in with AI and even scan just the audio and pull keywords from just the audio, like a show I'm doing now, and then mark them that way. The technology, again, maybe 10 years ago wasn't there. It's there now. So, the fact of the matter is, the mainstream media is so dead. And it's their own fault. It's not, sure, people putting out true stuff has contributed to that somewhat, but it doesn't deserve all the credit. Really, they've just gotten so blatantly obvious with what they're doing with the media and the lies, and it's been so exposed. They've just exposed themselves so much, even more over the last 10 years, that people are a lot more aware of it now. So they're just trying to scapegoat people putting out truth and with people, because that's the whole job of people like Alex Jones. They mix so much extremism and lies in with truthful stuff that it creates this cognitive dissonance, and people don't know what to believe and what not to believe. And again, that's what they talked about in that X-Files episode. And that's exactly what they want. The guy said that, or people don't, they used to care about people finding out truth. Now they don't care. That's why people always say, anybody who puts out truth stuff and is still alive can't be putting out the truth, and they'd be dead. That's not the case anymore, man. Maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, maybe. But that guy summed it up in that X-Files episode. I guess it was episode 4 or 5, whichever one it was that I talked about, where Mulder said that thing about, when you boys were still sniffing crack and looking at your first chemtrail or whatever. But yeah, that guy explains that to Mulder, that, and that was a fucking great, truthful point. They don't care about people putting out true stuff, or putting out stuff now, even if it is true, because they know that most people don't have the discernment to be able to tell what's true and what isn't. So it doesn't matter how much truth is out there anymore. And that's exactly what my point has been for over 10 years now, is discernment. That's why I don't jump and run at every fucking, new theory and all this bullshit that comes around overnight. I stick to the stuff that is absolutely, positively on point as far as what we can prove. And I always let you know when I speculate and put stuff together. I mean, just because something is speculation doesn't always necessarily mean it's always wrong. Yes, speculation can be just speculation, not be true, but sometimes it's right. But I always think that that's the most important thing, is having the discernment. And that's what I've always told people here is I think one of the biggest things you get from me in my work is that by the time I'm bringing a piece of information to you, it's well researched and vetted out before I even fucking bring it to the table. So I'm going to keep exposing these shills and continue to expose these ass clowns. And the job used to be so easy. It was a lot easier when I first started. It's much more difficult now, because it's not just now, and before it was just exposing what the controllers themselves are doing. Now you have to expose, and I've been for the past 10 years exposing what these supposed truth tellers are doing. I've had to expose how they're just another extension of the power structure. And again, if you haven't seen Spellcasters, you haven't seen Volume 1 and Volume 1.5, and you haven't heard my newest audiobook that came out in November, Covert War on Rock, you got to go to the download shop. Get yourself some downloads right now. Spread the word on those and get ready for Volume 2, which should be out next month. We got to raise a couple $100. We don't really need much, man, for what this film's going to be. Get your donations in and help us out. And we'll see you next time, folks. Take care.